Ladies and gentlemen, grab your titties and flick your beans because today is episode 10. And as such, well, we're not really doing anything out of the ordinary. But on today's show, we rip into Bethesda because who doesn't love it to rip into Bethesda? We talk Outerworlds, which is a lovely fuck you to Bethesda. We have a quick little rant, or I'll have a quick little rant on Call of Duty Mobile and why people shouldn't really be surprised at the shenanigans of Activision. We talk Star Wars trailer, Terminator 7000 reviews, a quick CW recap of their stupidity, and of course, we finish off with Zam's top 5. So, welcome to episode 10 of the Jettisoned Lifepodcast. My hosts are the usual bunch of rogue motherfuckers. I have Christine, I have
Yellow.
Roberto, and I have some random stalker dude who wants my Bobs and Virgin for some reason. Otherwise known as Zam FIFA Grandmaster. So to start off, we are going to rip into Bethesda. Christine, would you like to do the pleasure?
Where would I start?
Let's start with Fallout first.
Fallout 76. How much do they ask?
Well,
100 per year.
Of $13 a month or $100 a year. Let's go.
For Fallout 76. A game that nobody should play. Nobody should be playing. People, if they go to play that game, their hands should fall off.
Yep.
Like, how can you be so out of touch with reality that you create a product that is so bad that nobody wants it, everyone's ripping on it, and you ask so much money for it? Like, if you want money, do something good. Like, I don't know, man. It's like they're going further and further down this really bad rabbit hole, and I don't like it. Because, you know, if the next Elder Scrolls is shit and it's like that, I'm gonna do something bad.
You gotta go find your offices and burn it down.
Yes, or I'm gonna find out what's his name.
Todd something.
Yeah, Todd Howard, is it? Yeah, and I'm gonna shave his head and have him eat the hair. And I don't know what else I'll do, but something bad, because he should eat shit at this point, like for real. Yeah, I'm pissed.
So just a quick recap: Fallout 76 launched as a disaster, and it has continuously been nothing but a disaster. Every motherfucking thing that Todd said that they wouldn't do in Bethesda in terms of monetization, they have done. They have gone back. They have lied repeatedly on everything, and the game is a broken piece of shit. It doesn't work. It's been out for months. It doesn't work. It was such a failure of a launch that they slashed the prices by, I think, over a third just to get people to buy this shit. And as a nice thank you to the fans, Bethesda have repeatedly just given them a nice big fisting up the arse with the shenanigans. It is. I mean, the best way to describe Bethesda is like an abusive relationship in where they always say they're going to change, but instead of changing, they get worse and worse and worse. They are the epitome of everything that is wrong with the gaming company, which is you don't take
to be fair, it's still change. Huh? But it's change for the worse. Like, change does happen, but it's for the worse.
Yeah. And instead of just improving or taking responsibility for your actions, you just fucking ignore it, respond with corporate speak, and then you have the balls to charge people more to include the shit that should have been included with a $60 game. I mean, where do you get the fucking nerve? And there are people, albeit there's only a few now, there are people defending their actions. That, well, if you're not playing it, this doesn't concern you. It's like, why would you give money to this company?
It does concern me.
It's so anti-consumer.
It does concern me because this creates a precedent for gaming companies to screw us all over and to give us subpar products.
Exactly.
While asking for money that clearly we don't even have. Okay, like fuck this shit. I'm not gonna like people gonna work their asses off just to pay me money for a game that's not even finished. Fuck this shit.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, you hit on it earlier. What does this say about Elder Scrolls 6? You know, people are really fucking worried now. I don't care. It's not my type of game, but
I'm very worried.
Huge fan base. What shit are they going to pull there with that game? You know, it's ridiculous. And which brings us onto the next part, which is Outer Worlds just came out this Friday.
And it's fantastic.
And Christine, you've played it, so go right ahead.
I love it. Like, I have a few criticisms so far. Well, to be fair, I'm still fairly at the beginning. Okay, so graphic-wise, I like it. Performance-wise, well, imagine that my PC has been active since 2014 with only a couple of upgrades since then. The CPU is fairly old, and yet it still performs very well. Like I'm on very high graphics, and okay, the temperature might go a bit high, but it's very smooth.
Yeah,
it's working great. Now, game wise, there are a few criticisms that I told you before. One is the customization. I find it a bit limited. But it doesn't really matter because you don't get to see your character. The only time you get to see it is if you AFK, and it does this, screensaver thing where it makes you move around your character. The other thing is, well, you don't see your character, not even during dialogue, and the protagonist is a silent protagonist. So after having so many games that have evolved into, having you talk and have a voice and whatnot, it is a bit, disappointing to go back to that, but it doesn't really bother me all that much, if I'm being honest. Like, it's fine. Like, these are the only criticisms I have so far. The options given in the game are legit. Like, there are consequences. Like, you go one way or the other, and the consequences for what you do. So you have to make very serious choices. So far, I like the fact that it allows you 2 party members. Well, honestly, I would have preferred more than 2 because I'm just a sucker for that shit. Not because I need them necessarily, just so I'm not alone, I suppose. Because I don't like real people, but those virtual guys, although they're annoying, they're fine, they're what we have. Yeah. Oh, and the other criticism I have, like, okay, you start the game, you're in a fucking life pod, you crash onto a planet, first person you see is a fucking hottie, and it don't give you the chance to recruit him. Big oversight, Obsidian, big oversight. Like, I have an issue with that, but other than that, I'm loving it. I'm like, I'm blasting away with plasma rifles, all of them fuckers, and I'm happy. I'm happy.
Fallout basically should have reached to now in terms of, like, there's been no major reported glitches, if any. There are no.
I haven't found any bug so far. I haven't found any bug. It's very smooth. It does remind me a bit of Mass Effect Andromeda, but in a very vague sense. Like, not even, like, Yeah, and I feel sorry for saying that because it's a lot better than Mass Effect Andromeda, much better.
Yeah.
But some things remind me of it, like the shape, like the only maybe they took some ideas from it, but they made it better, and I'm loving it.
Well, that's what it is. They probably looked at all the fuck ups that, well, especially Bethesda made, and they're like, well, we're just not going to be like them. They obviously Andromeda would have been like, well, we're not going to make sure we're not going to do that shit. They took their time and they've got it right, and it's selling like fucking hotcakes. Which should send a message to Bethesda, but they're not going to listen. They have such a short-sighted view that they're just looking at the short-term profits, which they haven't really hit. They've struggled this year. I mean, they've released games like what they released this year. They had that shitty Wolfenstein game that nobody fucking bought, and they had Rage 2, which nobody fucking bought, and Fallout 76 has been a disaster.
Oh, that's interesting.
So yeah, I bet she is. Yes, she is.
To be fair to Bethesda, they're still having sales from Skyrim. They're still milking that cow.
Oh, Jesus Christ. I'd love to see that company just die. It would just bring me great pleasure.
I don't want them to die. I want them to get good, but they're not getting.
And the thing is, they're a private company. They don't have shareholders to appease. Yet they're acting worse than companies that do have shareholders to please. This is what I don't understand with them. Anyway, let's quickly move on. Just going to quickly talk about Call of Duty Mobile, just to say that people were pissed at the scam that on loot boxes that has now appeared on Call of Duty Mobile, where they worked out that you have to spend close to like $100 to $150 on loot boxes just to get custom suits and certain weapons. And that, even though it looks like the color coded it to make it think like you're getting purple is rare, but I'm getting like a purple upgrade card, and now I've got a purple weapon. So they've confused it deliberately. But all I'm going to say on that, just 2 seconds, is if you're ever surprised at what Activision pulls when it comes to greed, then you're a fucking idiot. Everyone on my feeds are, oh, Call of Duty Mobile is fantastic. I'm like, wait for the greed to kick in. Wait till they cuck the game and make you pay for everything else moving forward. And now people are coming back surprised. Just gamers, man, gamers. They're I think they're among the thickest fucking people on the planet. They act surprised every time somebody punches them in the balls. Anyway, moving on. So, just gonna move on to Terminator, and I'll let Zam just take this one because it's mainly been us talking games here.
Yeah, it was interesting. I was listening to you guys talk. I mean, I have got not much to say. I know a little bit. Just to quickly go back to Bethesda, I know very little about it because I don't buy their games. But in the sense of like the overall news, I know there's a lot of pissed off people, and just giving my 2 cents. It might not necessarily be about this, but the fact that we're constantly getting incomplete games and we're asked to pay full price is fucking ridiculous. I'm not sure if that's got anything to do with what you're talking about, but that's one of the things that really does piss me off.
Yeah.
All right. To Terminator.
Unless Jason has anything to add to our,
sorry.
Just in accordance with everything that we always say is, I love Bethesda. I think their business practices are fantastic. Because I have no idea and I don't give a fuck. So moving on.
You capitalist bastard.
You pig dog.
Okay. The new Terminator movie. I'm just going to call it Terminator 6. I forgot. Dark Fate, isn't it? Is that what it is?
Yeah. Terminator 7000.
Yeah, the new Terminator film's out. And I know we spoke in the pre-show and you said the reviews were good, but since those positive reviews came, there's been some negative ones and it's pretty mixed now. Some people say it's okay as well, like there's average reviews for it. I'm I'm not. I was initially looking forward to it. Now I'm not. You know, no, the hype has kind of died down for me. But overall, when it comes to the Terminator franchise, I did love it. But I do feel it's very formulaic. Apart from Salvation, and to a degree, Salvation kind of followed a similar formula of a chase film. It's always been a chase film. Every Terminator, and you get fed up with that. I mean, how many times do they have to keep going after these fuckers? It's ridiculous. Somebody mentioned I saw a review on the new Terminator, and they briefly mentioned Back to the Future, and they said one of the reasons why Back to the Future worked and Terminator didn't is that every Back to the Future film had a different premises, a different MacGuffin, different sort of thing to sort out, whilst the premises for Terminator was always the same, which is why it just feels samey, and why people want more Back to the Future and they want no more fucking Terminator. But to get off this tangent, the new film's out. I will probably see it at some point in my life. It will never replicate what's happened before. The Terminators are getting better. I think the people who are making the Terminator films are finding it difficult to make a more superior Terminator every time they make a Terminator movie. I'm not too bothered about this film as much as I was maybe a month ago. My hype has died down. It's deflated beyond belief. I don't know how you feel. I'll move on with you to the least interested of the four of us. Roberto, the upcoming Terminator, will you watch it? Have you seen the previous ones, by the way?
Yeah, I've seen Terminator 1, 2, 3, Salvation. I have not seen Genesis. I did watch the Sarah Connor Chronicles. And I mean, truth be told, I have liked the Terminator movies more so than disliked them. Terminator 1 was pretty good. Terminator 2 was excellent. I liked Terminator 3. I'm not saying it's like this great piece of cinema, but like I liked that they kind of at the end, and spoiler alert for Terminator 3 if you haven't seen it, I kind of like the fact that they kind of actually made Judgment Day come because, you know, it was inevitable. So I kind of like that they did that. Terminator Salvation I like because it was, you know, it kind of took us to a different place with the Terminator franchise. But the biggest problem with Terminator, and this is probably why, is that by the time Genesis came along, I didn't care.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it's not that I hated any of the Terminator movies, but all the ones I've seen, like, except for 2 and maybe Salvation, I mean, I liked Salvation only because, not because of like, oh, it's such a great movie, but just because I'm like, all right, this is something different from this franchise. I like the difference in the franchise, and I was very okay with that. And the Sarah Connor Chronicles, I really liked that show. I thought it was a great show. I kind of was hoping that they would go into season 3 and kind of show, you know, where they were going to go with this franchise, because I thought there was potential for them to keep going. But I mean, it's just like it's any franchise. The longer any franchise with time travel, the longer you get into it, the worse it gets. Like with the time travel shenanigans, and that's the stuff. Like I can't, like, if the MCU keeps with this time travel crap, like it'll probably get frustrating. That's why I'm kind of glad that they're like, we're using it for this one movie. I don't think we're really going to use it for any other movies. And that, honestly, because I mean, you can sit there and you can go. And I kind of like the ground rules they set up for Endgame, was because, you know, they brought the stones to current time, and then they fixed the current time, and then they took the stones back, but they couldn't change the past. And that's where I think a lot of the confusion comes in with Terminator, is they think they can change the past, and that kind of creates loopholes and plot holes and all types of holes that just don't need to be there. So I don't know. I mean, that's my thoughts on Terminator. As I said, as a franchise, I would put it right smack dab in the middle of everything. Like, I mean, I don't think it's terrible, but I don't think it's like anything great, and I just kind of don't care.
Okay, before I pass it on to somebody else, I want to quickly mention Salvation. I like the premises of I like the idea of Salvation. I just didn't like the execution of it. It's not the sort of future, the story of the future I wanted. And it was, I thought certain executions were done really poorly, and the fact that fucking Skynet knew who Carl Reese was really pissed me off, because they're not supposed to know who he is. You know what I mean? But if that was the case, they wanted to kill him as much as they wanted to kill Sarah Connor in the first Terminator film. But That's just my thing on that. Ginger, what you got to say?
May I?
Oh, sorry, Chris. Go on.
You said something very important. Speaking of execution, what I have to say is the Terminator franchise needs to die.
I'm not, Chris. I'm not disagreeing with you on that because honestly, as I said, I don't care. So it's like I think that if the Terminator franchise kind of died for a long time, I wouldn't care. That's I think the problem with it is that nobody cares.
Yeah, like kill it, take it out of its misery. Nobody will miss it.
Chris,
I think you should make a whole segment about things that need to die. Honestly, I'm good with death.
Chris, would you prefer maybe instead of doing this chase movie malarkey they do all the time, that they did a proper story about John Connor in the future fighting against Skynet, stuff like that? No chase movie nonsense.
I don't care.
I really wanted that. I really wanted
John
some
Connor
proper.
can die in the fire. I wouldn't piss on him to save him.
I wouldn't mind that. I really wanted that, because Salvation, he was just a resistance fighter. He wasn't the leader of the resistance.
I don't know. I never watched it.
I really wanted to see him as the leader of the resistance fighting Skynet. I wouldn't mind that personally.
As for Genesis, they even misspelled their own title. Fuck them. Anyway, Ginger, go.
I'm on the same area as you. It's a franchise that needs to die a death. The first two films did everything that needed to be done. What the fuck else you gonna do with that afterwards? If you're going into the future and then you're having the resistance fighters, then you're basically admitting defeat every time. That you can't, no matter what you do, Skynet is inevitable. Well, what's the fucking point in going back in time and trying to kill somebody who topples Skynet and all this kind of shit? It never gets to the point to the end where, like on Zam's point, if you're going to do another Terminator, you do it to the point where John Connor actually succeeds in toppling Skynet. You see that end and why they send people back.
If they do that,
all we get is basically, Connor's the leader of the resistance. We don't know if he can defeat us or not, but let's send somebody back to kill his mom, and then let's send somebody back to kill him. It's like, okay, then what after that? Oh, let's just send somebody back to kill him again. It's like, fuck off. Seriously, fuck off. It's just shit, cheap Hollywood cash grab, and it's wank. No matter how many Alien films, no matter how many Predator films, no matter how many Terminator films you do, it's always the same fucking shit. It's always a big fucking failure. And just kill it. Come up with something new, for fuck's sake. Stop going retreading these old bloody franchises that were good in the 80s, that fit that time period, but are just completely irrelevant now. It's ridiculous. So kill it. Kill that fucking franchise.
Kill it with fire.
They should have made Terminator 3 before 1997, in my opinion. And regarding the Predator, is it Kevin Peter Hall who played the Predator? But the actor who plays the Predator, he also played Bigfoot. Once he passed away, his body language for how he played the Predator was great. He was the Predator. Without him in that suit, it just doesn't feel right either. Anyway, let's move on to the next topic.
Can I add something really quick before we move on? I really feel like that the way that Terminator 3 ended is how Terminator 2 should have ended. You know what I mean?
Agree.
I think they should have tacked on an extra kind of 20 minutes to the movie. They defeated T-1000 and then the T-800 gets melted. But then something happens and then Skynet comes active and then the whole world goes to shit. I think, honestly, at the end of that should have happened at the end of Terminator 3, should have happened at the end of Terminator 2, and it should have just been a loop right there, and it should have just ended.
It should have been 1997, and Terminator 2 should be set in 97, because that's when the apocalypse happens, doesn't it? So
whatever, that's how Terminator 2 should have ended.
Yeah, fair enough.
I agree, because then you could have done Terminator 3 in the future, a few years later, with John Connor actually fighting the resistance.
You could John Connor, the soldier, and Terminator 4 as the resistance leader.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, but they didn't. They just kept going back to the past and Arnie and his stupid fucking catchphrases. Anyway, twats.
I'm going to get back in time. I'm going to grow a beard and look like old man Terminator.
Exactly. Nice. Very nice.
Very good.
Okay, what do you want to do first? The CW recap or the fucking what's the other thing? The Star Wars.
Oh, yes.
Let's do a CW. Let's get that one out of the way.
Yeah. I'll leave that to you too.
Yeah, because
Alright,
I don't give a fuck.
What have you seen so far, Roberta? What episodes?
I have seen. Why don't you just start talking about it, and I'll just chime in.
Okay, but I've seen episodes. I've given up now. Actually, on Legends of Tomorrow, I just can't do it.
They're not even back yet.
Oh, really good, because I thought it wasn't on. I couldn't find it. Then I haven't even begun with Batwoman. I'm just not bothered with that. So for me, it's the Flash, Arrow, Supergirl. And I forgot about Black Lightning. I need to throw that one in there too. Damn, I just remembered. I
haven't watched Black Lightning. You can talk about it. I'm just saying, like, I watched Arrow, Flash, Supergirl, and Batwoman.
Okay. Well, basically, in episode 2 of the Flash. You've seen that, haven't you?
Yeah.
Okay, so basically, Barry Allen he's kind of come to terms that he's going to die because the Monitor has told him that with the upcoming crisis that you will have to sacrifice your life for everybody to live, and Barry Allen has accepted that, and so he's preparing himself. At the same time, he's dealing with that stupid doctor who wants to deal with dark matter, which is all these subplots. But as far as I'm concerned, the plot leading towards crisis is what's interesting me. And then you've got on Arrow, you have Oliver Queen going into parallel universes, having to meet his family in a different universe, seeing his mum again, even though that's not his real mum, even though it is his mum, but it's a copy of his mum because she's on a different universe, and he's happy because his mum died in season 2. And I mean, I'm sorry, I'm trying to stay on track here, but it's all basically leading to crisis. I mean, not too much on Supergirl. She's got her own shit going on. She's dealing with Lena Luthor. But I like the way a lot of stuff is still leading to crisis. And that's all I really care about. Can you just chime in? Because I'm kind of losing myself a little bit.
I mean, I like what they're doing with Arrow because what happened is, what they're doing with Arrow is essentially what they did during the first major crossover with, remember when at the 100th episode of Arrow and they were in this machine and, Oliver got to see all of the dead people. Like they're kind of doing that now. Like they're kind of recapping, all of the previous seasons with parallel universes rather than a dream machine. And I'm okay with it. I liked it. I mean, I was confused at first. I'm like, wait a minute, Oliver's on the island, but he's got short hair, but it's still the same fisherman. It didn't matter, but it was jarring at first, but once I caught on, I actually enjoyed it. I like the fact that that Merlin and his mom were together, and then then there was a new Dark Archer, and
Adrian Chase, which I loved.
Well, no, Tommy was the Dark Archer, and then Adrian Chase was the
Green Arrow. My bad.
Yeah, but here's the thing: how did Adrian Chase become the Green? See, but then there's also plot holes in that. Like, how did Adrian Chase become the Green Arrow if his son was never killed, but in the confrontation between, or somebody of his dad was killed? It was one of the people on Oliver's list in the first season, and it's like there's somewhat plot, and I think some of the things were made for convenience and for shock value. Adrian Chase is the Hood. And it's like,
I thought that was Earth 2 until I saw the next episode.
The what?
That was Earth 2. Did you realize?
Yeah, that was Earth 2.
I was surprised. I didn't know that was Earth 2 because I thought, I mean, when I saw Earth 2's Black Canary, which used to be Black Siren.
And then she's being secretive, and she's like, "What are you doing here?" And she knows.
By the way, I just just want to quickly talk about the Black Canary because there was when she started finding redemption because of what's his name, Officer Lance, her dad, but this was the Earth 1 dad and she's from Earth 2. When she was finding redemption, she became a good person, but she found it really difficult to be a good person until she spoke to Sarah from Earth 1, who's her Earth 1 sister, and told her that being good doesn't mean that you just give up halfway through. You got to stick at it. And I was really worried that she was going to go back to being a villain again. And then when you see her in the future with a flash forward of her staying as Black Canary, I fucking wait. I burst into fucking tears, man. I swear to fucking God, I burst into tears because she stayed a good guy. She didn't become evil. She remained good. She started evil and she ended up being a hero. And that made me so happy because the flash forward was 20 years in the future. So she has remained a hero for at least 20 fucking years. Great stuff. I loved it. Anyway, I'm falling apart talking about this CW stuff. I want to move on.
What if I want to talk about the Flash, motherfucker?
All right, fine. Sorry, dude.
I mean, here's the thing. There's going to be a lot of villains this season that get lost in the buildup into the buildup on Crisis. And that is where I think that the whole Lena Luthor thing and Brother Blood or Dr. Blood or whatever his name is on Flash is going to be. I mean, they're just going to get lost in the shuffle. And like they're building up in the Crisis, but then they got this Blood villain. And it's like, I really feel like they should do a villain of the week type format and then the overarching, kind of like in season 1. And the overarching is Crisis. They're already building up this guy, this Blood guy to be a villain. And it's like, they really shouldn't, because I feel like he's going to get lost in the shuffle. I like the actor who plays Dr. Blood or whatever his name is, Bloodborne. I don't know what his name is. Huh?
The British actor.
Yeah, I really like him. And I would hate to see his character get lost in the shuffle up to Infinite Crisis. So, I mean, I'm really just hoping that he doesn't get lost, or they find a way to rope him in. Because, I mean, and if they try to rope him into Infinite Crisis, it's going to be he's just going to get lost. And I just hope that I don't know. I just don't want people to get lost. The Lena Luthor thing, whatever. I'm not on board for that.
I'm really liking that.
I hate it. I hate it.
I'm loving the fact that she's becoming evil. I mean, it's a payoff.
No, she doesn't have to become evil.
I'm loving it. I appreciate her being evil. She's a fucking Luthor, dude. I don't want fucking Luthors to be anti-heroes. They're fucking assholes. Remain heroes.
They actually brought Lex Luthor and his mom in to be villains. Why does every Luthor have to be a villain?
Dude,
Can she have her own story where she's trotting that line between like anti-hero and hero?
She's been trotting that line for a while, but finally she's crossed it, and it's been a good wait, man. 5 fucking seasons of waiting for possibly something that you never expected to happen, which is what I liked about it. Because it makes sense. It doesn't feel forced. There's plenty of story and history to make this relevant, which is why I appreciate it. At the end of the day, she's a Luthor, and she can't those revenge and like wanting to not only get your guy but to hurt them. She wants to hurt Supergirl. She really wants her to feel some pain, and she knows that she's Kara. Is it Daniels? Is that her surname? Fucking Kara Daniels.
Danvers. And
Danvers, yeah. Bloody hell! I can't believe I forgot that. Yeah, but she knows her real identity. Kara has actually revealed it to her anyway. It was really interesting that part of the episode, because Lena Luthor was going to reveal Supergirl's identity, but then Kara just before that reveals herself to Lena, not realizing that Lena was going to reveal her identity, and so Lena was kind of stuck.
I like that part. I just didn't like the fact that Lena was still on this warpath. Like, Lena can still be pissed. I'm not saying she has no right to be pissed, but
yeah,
like, I really just think I don't know. I just think it's a trope. Oh, I'm going to be the bad guy because my friend didn't tell me her secret identity is Supergirl. When Supergirl went to great lengths in that conversation to explain why she didn't.
Once again, I felt there was enough reasoning in history and the other side of the fence, so to speak, other side for her argument to go down the path she's going, and she's been doing a lot of evil shit, come to think of it, with her human experimentation. Even though she's trying to do good, she's experimenting on humans and killing them.
But why does she have to
last
be?
season.
Why does she have to be evil? Like, that's why I'm saying she's toting the line. Like,
but
she's trying to do good.
No, she's trying to do good, but unfortunately, from the audience perspective, it looks evil.
Not really. I've never thought that she's evil. I think she's going about things maybe the wrong way, but I've never thought she's evil. Right now, she just looks like a vindictive bitch. When before she wasn't, and I liked that about her, that she was making the hard choices. And I like the fact that she was. Now she just is like, oh, I'm a woman and I am hurt, and a woman's scorn is hellfire and brimstone. It's like, no, why? No. I mean, like, that's I don't know. It just seems too cliche and it seems forced to me. I don't. You say it doesn't. It feels like it's forced, like a cactus up my ass.
Oh my God.
All I care about is the intertwining crisis story, seeing all the episodes, having those moments where it's about the crisis, and knowing that eventually they're going to come together. That's all I give a shit about right now. I have to be honest with you. I'm kind of forcing myself. I'm weaning off this stuff finally. I think maybe after Crisis, I might even give up on this shit, because I've had my fill after 8 years. 8 years of this. I might move on, but let's just see. I'm done talking about this. I really am. I'm not sure about you, Roberta.
I know. I'll probably keep watching. I enjoy The Flash. I love Legends. Batwoman's okay. You got to get past that first six episode like marker to kind of see if it's gonna stick or not.
When do you find the time?
Episode 2 was pretty good. I didn't think it was that bad. What else is on there? The Flash, Arrow, and I don't know about this Canaries show. I think that's probably a misstep on their part. I would love it if they did if they tried to do like a Reign of Supermen type series, or at least a mini series, where they had like Brandon Routh, and they had the Supergirl Superman, and they had what's his nuts from Smallville, and maybe try to get some other guest stars from other Superman shows in there. And they're like, I don't even know, but I kind of like the idea of having those 3 Supermen together, and like the different types of Supermen. Like, they don't all have to be in the blue and red. Like Tyler Hoechlin will probably Tyler Hoechlin, I can't remember. The Smallville Superman, he'll probably just wear like a t-shirt and black pants because he's a dickwad. So but I kind of want to see a show based on call it the Reign of the Supermen. And
I'm looking forward to that too. Having 3 Supermen on the screen. It's gonna be interesting.
So I don't know. That's my thoughts on CW. I like some of the buildup. I just hate the fact that they've got some good actors in good places, but I feel like they're going to get forgotten because of the Crisis buildup. I really think they should have waited until after the Crisis buildup until they bring in some. I think it really should be Villain of the Week with the overarching Crisis villain, or the overarching Crisis stuff. Anyway, all right, I'm ready to move on. So go ahead.
I think that should have been snapped when Thanos snapped his fingers.
Yeah, let's snap this subject.
I'm sorry, not really.
Oh boy, here we go.
Next topic.
Another franchise that needs to die, and yet you all want to talk about.
Hold on, Chris.
No.
See, here's the thing. I feel the same way about Star Wars as you feel about Bethesda. I want Star Wars. I don't want it to die. I want it to get better. Like you said, you didn't want Bethesda to die, but you said you didn't want it to die, but you wanted it to get better. I feel that Star Wars is a franchise that needs to just get better. They need to get their heads out of their own asses.
Yeah, but this won't happen, and both you and I are going to be disappointed in the end, with tears in our eyes.
Well, I'd say that when it comes to the
I'm going to
film,
be playing Elder Scrolls 6 while weeping, man.
the thing with Star Wars is, the films. They got lost in their own stupidity. They tried to be something that nobody fucking cared about, they just, Solo, Last Jedi just completely shit the bed. But look, we've got The Mandalorian coming up, and reviews for that have been super positive. And My hope is that it's so good that they fucking get rid of that stupid idiot Kathleen Kennedy and they put Jon Favreau in charge of the Star Wars franchise.
Why aren't we working for Disney? We have great ideas.
Hmm?
You guys suck.
You know, whatever. Shut up. You go work for Bethesda.
Disney, hire us. There's a million
Dude,
of them fucking
if I
fanboys.
was a rich person, I would fucking buy Bethesda just to make them be what they're supposed to be, okay? I would fucking buy and then I would also buy EA and I would close it down because fuck them.
Consolidation.
I'll agree to that. But anyway, Star Wars trailer came out and underwhelming. It's standard J.J. Abrams. Never fucking he's done 4 fucking films to do with space, and he does no space in there. If you look at all of those films, I think the only one, at least 3 of them, that have any time in space itself is the beginning of the Star Trek reboot. That's it. Then it takes 2 whole fucking films before the Enterprise actually leaves Earth. Anyway, I can't believe they fucking went back and got that bloody vanilla twat. But there's a lot of questions to be asked. Like, first of all, there's parts of the Death Star that are on a planet. Is this planet Endor? Is it one of the other surrounding moons? I'm not the forest.
Who gives a fuck?
Endor's a guy. Shut up, woman. All right. You know, like the whole thing just exploded into tiny little pieces. How the fuck are the huge chunks of the Death Star still around? But the point is, anyway, the trailer was underwhelming. It's got fucking horses in it, for fuck's sake. Riding on top of bloody Star Destroyer. There's a space battle that's taking place in a planet. There's just too many callbacks. Like, oh, everyone like losing their shit with C-3PO is, I just want to see my friends one last time. And everyone's like, oh, fuck off. It's C-3PO. It's a metal piece of shit. Fuck him. Jesus fucking Christ. It's like, please, I want this franchise not dead, but I want the Skywalker saga dead. Done. I want everyone to fucking die in the end. No Rey, no Finn, no Poe, no fucking Leia, no Luke, no Force. Just kill them all. Every single one of them. Let us never go anywhere near this timeline ever again. Apart from obviously we've got Mandalorian, Unavoidable, and Kenobi. Fine with the series. But in terms of the films, go far in the fucking future or far in the past. Enough is enough. There is nothing you can fucking do that can salvage this hunk of shit. So just kill everyone off. That's what I fucking want. And let's get a decent producer who's not fucking obsessed with identity politics and piss poor character writing, all right? And have a proper fleshed out fucking film or trilogy. God fucking damn it. I'm so sick of the lack of creativity in Hollywood. Sick of it. It's the same old cut and paste lazy shit. Rogue One was a fucking flash in the pan miracle that film actually happened. And they haven't looked at that and thought, yeah, that works. Let's move with that. Bunch of characters, ragtag bunch of people, rebels put together, and it all goes to shit. Beautiful. Anyway, anyone else want to chime in?
Regarding the Star Wars trailer, I was underwhelmed. The first trailer actually got me excited. It really did. The music was great. The tone thing. I had no idea Lando was going to be back. Yeah. So when you see him there going, ha, 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 and the fucking Falcon, I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. And then you see the second trailer, and it feels pretty much like the first trailer. What the second trailer really lacked, and I'm not asking them to give anything away, or, you know, I really don't want to be spoiled, but I would like just a little bit of dialogue in that second trailer. More than just what C-3PO. I wanted to see, you know, hear some of these guys communicating, just say a few words here and there. You know, make it a little bit different without revealing anything. Disney are good at that when it comes to their trailers. I'm actually not too fast. I'm going to watch it. Can't wait for it to be over. And then I want to, like Ginger says, I want to just see other stuff. There's a universe, a fucking universe. And it's just about the Skywalkers all the time. It's ridiculous. You know, I mean, everything revolves around that shit. Whether it be, you know, even the standalone films, Rogue One, you know, it's connected to that shit. Solo obviously is, you know, so let's just have some shit which has got nothing to do with that shit, yeah, in this goddamn universe, please.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Maybe something else.
Well, that's what the Mandalorian is going to be. So as long as the Mandalorian is successful, they might actually do that. See, here's not that I want to say like, oh, I'm better than the creative people, but sometimes I am. But I mean, like, yeah, shut up there. But I mean, here's how I would have handled Star Wars. All right, so I know Ginger that you don't like J.J. Abrams, but let's be honest. Like, no matter what people do with Star Wars, they're gonna hate it unless it's something original. Like, but if it's original and it's within the confines of the episodic ones, they're gonna hate it. Look at Last Jedi. I didn't hate The Last Jedi. I didn't think it was that great, but I didn't think it was like as a trash heap as everybody else said it was. Oh, it's not Star Wars. I want more Star Wars. You know, like, okay, so I would have given J.J. Abrams all 3 movies. I would have had him do 7, 8, and 9, wrap it up, hit the nostalgia feels, just give us the same basic bitch Star Wars shit that we've always had. I would have given Rian Johnson his own trilogy. I would have said, look, I mean, I know huh?
Anyway, I said I'd cut his fucking dick off, but anyway, carry on.
No, like, I think that if you gave him something original to work with in that universe, be like, look, we want this apart from the episodic shit. I don't care if you go 1,000 years in the past. I don't care if you go like 100 years in the future. I don't care if you go to the Outer Rim with it, but do something outside of the Skywalker shit. And then once they do all that, you know, like, got that trilogy. I mean, do the Old Republic trilogy. You know, give it, and I agree with you, Ginger, 100%. Give Favreau Star Wars. We need Favreau in charge of Star Wars, like Feige was in charge of Marvel, because I think Favreau will, you know, I think Favreau will just do really well in that, because we've all seen it. We've all seen the fact that Favreau can take something obscure and make it good. And although Star Wars is not obscure, it's not exactly in a positive light. What's up?
Yeah, just to quickly say, you, on your point, yeah, Abrams should have fucking done the whole trilogy. Jumping off completely is what derailed it. Because episode 7, the first 3/4 of it were a lot of fun. The last half of it just completely went to shit. It was a bit like too close to the nail of what we've already seen. But he should have done the whole trilogy.
Yeah.
And now they're doing damage control in the last film.
Yeah, and it's like, now we're not only are we dealing, like, because the whole raised parents thing, like, I think that could have been done well. And it doesn't have to be, she doesn't have to be a Skywalker. She could have been fucking Mace Windu's granddaughter for all I cared. You know, Snoke turning out to be Mace Windu would have been cool, or something like that. I mean, I feel like they're now double doing on the last movie, and it's damage control from Rian Johnson's movie, as well as finishing up an entire 9-movie franchise, and you can't do it. You might as well go to fucking episode 10 and say, we know that we screwed up. Episode 9 is this. Episode 10 is the true finale, but we will give you a good send-off to this saga. It'll be 10 movies, but it will feel like an actual conclusion, because 9 has to be damage control. 10 should be the send-off.
Yeah.
And I don't want to add another movie to the Skywalker saga, but on top of that, I feel like it's going to be like a fucking Quicksilver sprint until the end in this movie, because they're doing double duty on it.
Yeah, and given that it's only 2 hours long, it won't be enough time to fix all the damages.
2 hours too long.
Well, like, to be honest, like, I felt, you know, at the end of episode 2, you know, I thought to myself, damn, how are they going to, like, you know, tick all these boxes they have to tick, you know, regarding episode 3 going into episode 4. They're going to have, there's so many things they have to sort out. And, you know, to be fair to George Lucas, he pretty much pulled it off with episode 3.
No, he didn't.
I thought a lot of things, not everything was addressed.
It was garbage.
A lot of things were addressed. Sorry?
Well, how they should have done it is that Anakin turned in episode 2, and then episode 3 is Obi-Wan trying to stop him from slaughtering all the Jedi. That would have been much better episode 3.
I'm not going down that route. I mean, I'm not liking the prequels regardless, but I thought I just thought that, you know, he had to like, you know, address a lot of things, and I thought, you know, just to make things, you know, like, you know, be continuous, because, you know, the Jedi's have to die, and little things have to be, you know, addressed, and I thought they were in episode 3, but never not.
But
not
they
saying
were
I
rushed
liked it.
through. It was
Sorry?
rushed. It was rushed. Like Yoda just lands on a planet and is like, "This is my home now." Obi-Wan is like, "I'll just give the kids." There we go.
I agree.
Done.
It was still shit. It was still shit. Like, you know what?
Dressing,
I'm a bad feeling
right.
now.
I'm sorry, Zam. I have to disagree. Everything about that is shit the bed completely. In episode 3, it was just like, it was like he did the whole film, then he remembered at the end, oh yeah, shit, I have to put Yoda on a planet, I have to wipe the memories of the droids, I have to put Obi-Wan and Luke on fucking Tatooine, and I just hated.
I had to kill the Jedi.
It was just
I feel like
they turned into stormtroopers.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I feel like if they would have written out all 3 movies and then like been like, okay, you know, and then splitted them, like if they wrote out the whole thing and then split it into 3 movies, I think it would have been much better than, you know, episode 1 being what it was and episode 2 being like, oh, now we have to introduce Anakin's character as a Jedi. And then episode 3 is like, well, yeah, you're right. We have to rush through it and turn him to the dark side. I think if they would have written it in a fashion where, you know, that it was one story broken into 3 different parts, I think it would have been much better.
In my opinion, it should have been like this. It should have been some Anakin Skywalker being this really good starfighter pilot, just as the way Kenobi described him in episode 4, and him meeting him as this starfighter pilot, realizing this guy's got the Force in him, and the way he fucking flies these planes, and these fighter jets and shit, and then recruits him and makes him into a Jedi, and then he's a cocky, arrogant git, so he turns to the dark side, gets some bird up the duff, and obviously they have twins. You know, they could have gone like that. I mean, yeah, the origins of the Jedi wasn't really necessarily explored that much until the prequels came along. So it could have started in any fashion. So anyway,
yeah, I mean, even that would have been fine. Cocky pilot realizes he's got the Force, and then he just, you know, it turns out he's not what he is, kind of thing. He just gets arrogant with it, and then easily flips to the dark side. And
well, and I mean, did they ever state, like, I know that the whole like, oh, they have to be trained as a Jedi from when they were young. Was that ever stated in the original trilogy, or, you know, was that just like, okay, or was that ever stated that Anakin was found as a boy? So I don't know why they started with the boy thing.
Obi-Wan said when talking to Luke in his hut, saying that he was the best starfighter pilot in the galaxy or some shit like that. I remember him.
So he was obviously older.
Yeah, but he's probably talking about either the time that he was doing the pod racing, or that time or the end of the film where he destroys that spaceship, which controls the droids.
Well, the way they talked about it is like they were the same age.
Yeah.
Around there. But then you go back and it's just a little kid, and then it's just a bunch of nothing, and then it's dark side, and it's like, yeah. So,
and Yoda basically comes across as, look, you know, as Obi-Wan's trainer, which is not the case, because his master was Qui-Gon. Now, he did say, you know, you will learn from the same Jedi master who instructed me, which is true, because he was instructed by Yoda to a degree. You know, he would listen to him if told, but it made it come across that Yoda was fucking Obi-Wan's trainer, and that was not the case in the fucking prequels. And the shit like that hurts me.
Yeah, I agree. Right, let's move on to the top 5.
Oh yes,
it's a top 5 countdown.
The Mandalorian, or did we talk about that?
What?
Yes, we did talk about the Mandalorian, didn't we?
I mean, it got positive reviews. I mean,
fair enough.
Yeah.
Why don't we wait until it's out and you watch it until we talk about it?
Yeah, we want to talk about all the Star Wars all the time now, Chris.
I
want to talk about it all. I've been timed out.
Yeah, because you're being naughty. You're being very naughty. Come on, Zam. Top
Okay.
5. Let's
My
hope it
top
doesn't suck.
5 is, I really wanted to do a top 5, but I couldn't squeeze one of these films out, so it's going to be a top 6. And this top 6 is
Breaking the format.
yes, but I could really, it was difficult. It was difficult, but this top 6 is sword and sorcery movies. I love a good sword and sorcery film. I grew up on them. They were fantastic. There were so many stuff. You know, even the crap ones were good, like Red Sonja. Awesome, absolutely
fucking awesome.
awesome.
I know why you liked it.
It's good shit. You know what I mean? You know, Conan the Destroyer. You know, it's a really shit sequel, but you know, nevertheless, these are really good films. You know, Krull. Remember Krull? That was actually set on an alien. You know, stuff like that. You know, really good stuff. Oh, man, I love all this shit, right? So this is my top 6. Now, some of these I put in because not only are they like the sword, sorcery, fantasy films, but some of them are quite adult orientated as well. You know what I mean? So when I say adult oriented, don't think porn,
Yeah,
but,
like Red Song, yeah.
They're not the kid. Not all of them are the kiddie stuff.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? So the first one I want to get out the way because I only think Ginger might have seen this movie. It's called Excalibur. Have you seen Excalibur?
Yeah, the classic British film.
Yes.
I think everybody has.
100.
Can't say I remember it.
It's a really good film. It's based on the story of King Arthur. Funny
No
enough.
shit.
Excalibur is based on King Arthur?
Yeah.
What the hell?
No way. I can't believe it.
Fair enough. But it's not done in like this film is an 18 rated movie. You know, it's an R rated film. It's they're like people. They're like
Are there boobies?
Getting killed in various ways. There's a lot of nudity. There's sex in the film and stuff like that.
It is
very, very long, but it's very intriguing. It's almost like it is a bit stupid at times, but it's good. It's really intriguing. Like I'm not sure how I felt about the soundtrack of the film. You know, the way those horns were always blaring. It kind of
overwhelmed me. Jarring compared to the film.
Sorry,
I think it was the soundtrack was a little bit jarring compared to the rest of the film, like a bit out of place.
But like Helen Mirren as well.
Very, very like late 70s. I know it was 1981, but it had that late 70s kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love
Honestly, I don't even remember it.
I'm not going to talk about it too much, but it's really good. I mean, like it's Game of Thrones. You've even got some incest in it. You'll like it, Chris. Anyway,
I don't like incest. I'm not Japanese.
Okay. Okay. We're going to move on to.
Though to be fair, I'm okay with hentai.
Okay, we're moving on to the next one. Now, before Lord of the Rings, this movie was very much like Lord of the Rings. It's called Willow. It's a George Lucas classic.
Never heard of it.
Yeah, good film. I don't remember much about it, but I loved it as a kid.
A quick story: Joanne Wiley Kilmer, who's in this movie, she's been in my cab, and this film is basically a story of little people who find a human baby washed up along their shores. Their version of Hobbiton, and they realize they have to bring the baby back to the people who it belongs to. And then these little people go on a journey, and they meet some big people on the way, and they have all these adventures and stuff.
Oh, like the Prince of Egypt.
I'm not sure, maybe because
it's classic Moses.
No. It's settings.
Whoa, we're not talking religion. Whoa.
It's got all the elements you would like from a sword and sorcery film with the magic and the dragons, and Val Kilmer's excellent. Is it Harrigan or something like that? His name is Hartigan. I can't remember.
It's been so long since I've seen it.
Mad Martigan.
You've seen Willow, Roberto?
Yeah, I've heard of it. I've seen it. It's just been it was a long time ago.
Great film, by the way. You should go. I mean, the soundtrack is fantastic, by the way.
I have to go back and read
Weren't they talking about doing a sequel or something?
about 30 years. Steve,
Sorry?
stop checking our screen.
Okay. On to the next one.
Yeah.
Okay. The next one, I'm not sure if, once again, I think maybe only Ginger's seen this one. This one is one I can vaguely remember, but I do know that I have enjoyed watching this film when I saw it. It is Beastmaster.
Oh, come on. Yes.
Oh, that's always excellent. It's
Ah,
all the
great
sorcery, but this guy can control the animals. He's the Dr. Doolittle of fucking knights and shit.
That sounds like bestiality porn, honestly. No.
There was
No.
some bestiality in there. No, there wasn't, but you know.
No, there wasn't. I remember the ferrets. He had these ferrets. and
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Great,
Remember
you don't want to
these
know.
guys?
I
These guys were
remember
like
the
bats.
ferret from the Big Lebowski.
But these guys were like bats, yeah, and like they would take people and like eat them like Venus flytraps, and you see all their gunk come out the bottom. You know?
The main guy in it is actually in Arrow as General Matthew Shreve. What I can see here, he was in it in 2015 in Arrow.
Yeah, I think so. I can't vaguely remember. There's so many episodes of Arrow.
Beastmaster's a great fucking film. The ferrets.
I think I've
Never heard of it.
I think I've seen it. I'm looking at images. I think I have seen it. It's been a long time, but I've seen it, I think.
When that ferret
now I'm
died,
gonna
I was
look for
fucking
it too.
broken hearted, man.
Yeah.
That ferret died. That ferret died. That ferret died saving him. He went into the fire, but luckily
Oh,
it was a
no.
male ferret
no.
because the female
Haven't
survived
seen
because they had kids. They had
I'm
babies.
glad I didn't.
Oh, so the ferrets were awesome, man.
Like
It
Rich
looks
Swan
so
in it.
cheesy.
Now,
It looks so cheesy. It's like 70s porn.
It's fantastic. But that
Yeah,
was
because you're old.
yes, I am.
I
love
wasn't
it.
even born
let's
then.
go on to number 3 now, yeah? Now, this film is beautiful to look at. It was made in 1985. It stars a very young Tom Cruise just before he became famous. It is called Leg End.
Legend, yeah.
Yeah.
About unicorns and goblins, and a fantastic performance by Tim Curry
Oh,
yeah.
yeah, he's awesome.
as the devil, who was never really called the devil, but he was the Prince of Darkness.
Darkness.
I mean, Tim Curry is always fucking exceptional.
Yeah, he is.
Always.
Exceptional performance. You seen that film? You must have seen it, yeah, Chris? A goth like you would have seen that shit.
Of course, I've seen that shit.
Yeah. What do you think of it, Chris? Tell me about your experience with that film.
I like Tim Curry. I don't care about Tom Cruise. Fuck him. I like the unicorns.
Yeah, I think when one of them died.
Yeah.
Yeah, some sad.
What's the name of the movie?
Legend.
I'm sure you've watched it. Everyone has watched it at some point.
Great film,
it
right?
has been a few decades since I've seen
The
it.
Ridley Scott film. It's one of the few films of his I liked. I know that's sacrilege.
I don't know if I've seen that one.
Go watch it. It's great. Great.
Well,
Great in an 80s sense. Yeah.
no. We're going to go on to number 2 now.
Yeah, go for it.
Number 2, I couldn't choose one. It had to be the trilogy, and it's the Lord of the Rings trilogy. This
Should be number one.
That should be number 1.
That should be number
no, I'm sorry. This is my
No.
top 6.
No, your top 5 or 6 is wrong, Zam. You are
It's
banned
totally wrong.
from
Zam,
here
no.
on in until you pop a titty
No,
out.
there's not a lot of there's some wizardry in those movies, but that's not what it's all about.
In the movie, you know, there's sword and sorcery. There's sorcery in the film. There's swords in the film. It's a sword and sorcery film.
There's also bows and axes and
Yeah, we
hobbits,
don't- we
dwarves,
don't
and
go
everything.
number 1 because everyone knows the Lord of the Rings.
No, I love Lord of the Rings, but number 1 is. I mean, you might not agree with number 1 still, but nevertheless, it's still an excellent film without a doubt. But I'm not sure if 2 of you have seen it. But what's your experience and what do you guys think of the Lord of the Rings films? Anything in particular?
It's the best thing ever created on this fucking stupid planet.
Yeah, I agree.
I thought that they were great movies. If this is a top 5 like sorcery movies, like there's sorcery in there, but that's not like the sorcery in those movies is not like super prevalent.
Bilbo Baggins.
Yeah, no, we're not talking about damn top 5 movies of all time. We're talking about sorcery movies.
Top 5
No,
sword
sword and
movies.
sorcery, and there's a lot more sorcery in that one than in these other things that you had in there. Okay.
That's why it's number 2. You don't know what number 1 is.
Okay, Zam, what's your number 1? Before
Number
we
1 is
you.
The Barbarian. This film, Conan the Barbarian.
Where's the sorcery in Conan?
Have you not seen? There is sword and sorcery in Conan.
Not more than Lord of the Rings.
Why isn't Doctor Strange on this list?
Shut the fuck up, Lord of the Rings.
Go away, Jason.
Go away.
Conan the Barbarian. I'm not sure if you guys have seen this film.
I love Conan.
It's absolutely beautifully shot. The cinematography of that movie is amazing. It's
It's better than Lord of the Rings.
Okay, look, you know what? To be fair, that's what Zam prefers. This is his top 6. Absolutely.
I like it both, but
Conan is fucking awesome.
Conan the Barbarian is
just not as awesome as Aragorn.
No, we know that, but it's not our top 6. Let's not be dickish. We've already banished him from next week's podcast until he pops a tit out. So it's fine. We'll talk Conan, because Conan, okay, is owned by this dickhead who doesn't know what to do with this franchise that he fucking bought. All right. He keeps saying he's going to come back with a new one. He did that. Was it Brett Ratner that directed? Or was that Hercules? I think that was Hercules. There was that Conan that came out with Jason Momoa.
Oh, yeah.
I'm surprised you haven't seen that, Christine.
Of course I've seen that.
Oh, okay. My bad.
I mean, come on. I didn't watch it for the movie. I'll be fair. I watched it for the eye candy.
Yeah, of course. That's fair.
And I enjoyed it for the eye candy. I don't remember anything about what was going on in the movie, apart from what I was there to see. So there's that.
Regarding Conan the Barbarian, I mean, the film was great from the beginning. You see this, like, all these horses coming into this village. You know, they ride along. They just slaughter the shit out of everyone. All they want is this guy's sword. And by doing so, they just massacred the whole fucking village. And then they kill the guy, owner of the sword, but the owner of the sword's wife takes it, and it's just her and her son left. And then James Earl Jones comes off his horse and just chops her fucking head off, and then takes his son, and who will end up being Arnie, and he just pushes a fucking wheel for most of his life, and pushing that wheel makes him really big and strong and shit. And he's built like a brick shit house now, even though it's not possible. People are saying that pushing this wheel will make you look like a tank, but it made him look like a fucking tank. Yeah. And then he learns how to become a fighter, and then he meets a gang of thieves, and then this elite person hires them because they want his daughter back, and then Arnie realizes that the same people holding his daughter are the same people that killed his family, so he wants his revenge, and he loses his lover along the way, and he gets his revenge. It's so fucking good. That fight they have, where they're fighting, it's just him and the archer and the magician, and they're having that little battle around those rocks and stuff. Amazing, man. You know what I mean? Oh man, I love it, man. Oh, it's so good, man. How can you not appreciate this, man? Like Conan the Barbarian, we wouldn't have Lord of the Rings. You know what I mean? There were a lot of similarities to some of the epicness of the, it's just so great,
No,
maybe I said it like, no, actually, I'll take that back. Back. I just got a bit carried away. I just realized it was written before. Yeah. Nevertheless, sorry, I'll take all that back. So yeah, but it's just so good, and. Unfortunately, Conan the Destroyer was absolute shit compared to Conan the Barbarian. I'm not sure what you think.
I still like it.
Okay, but like the whole cinematography was so different. It didn't look like the same style of movie as the first one. It felt like a total reboot. It didn't even feel like a fucking sequel.
Yeah.
And then I really wanted to see a King Conan movie. He should have ended like that. the best thing we got was him playing second fiddle to fucking Bridget Nielsen in Red Sonja. You know, I want to see more. You know, all the stuff we got of Arnie like running around with a fucking M60 or a machine gun and stuff. It would have been good to see him like with a sword a few more times, battling monsters. And
To be fair, I don't know if this amount of muscle mass would be really compatible with really good sword fighting, because you know how these bodybuilders are. They can barely move their arms behind their back. They can, you know, it's weird. It's weird.
Bodybuilders can't even wipe their own butts.
Yeah,
Seriously, they can't. Some of them can't wipe their own ass because their sides are too big.
Yeah, no. So
they got to use
I don't expect Arnie to actually be any good with a sword. I trust that I had him. And there's that. That's all I have to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's just my little memory trip.
Lovely top
film. Fantastic movie. That's why it's my number one.
So can I ask a question really quick?
Yeah, go for it.
I just like why not Doctor Strange on the list? And I'm not talking about because it's MCU and everything. Like, did you not like that movie, or did you not feel it was?
Where did you see the swords in Doctor Strange?
I figured Doctor Strange was a sorcery movie. So
sword and sorcery, Jason.
Oh, Jason. Like they're set. You know, it's usually set at some sort of medieval time of some variants.
I missed
or not. You know,
I missed the sword and sorcery
have to come into play as well. You know, but it's very hard to abbreviate all of that shit into what.
Strange is nothing compared.
Well, I also missed the fact that it was sword and sorcery. I didn't hear the sword part. I just heard sorcery. Okay.
Well, I suggest an appointment with an ear doctor.
No, just to be clear as well, Doctor Strange doesn't come anywhere near these fucking films. It's a good film, but it's not a classic. It's not a classic. It will never be a classic. It was just a cookie cutter Marvel film. All right.
Yeah.
These are fucking classics. These are just beloved classics.
Stuff I
the older generation. So
and you know, in terms of replayability of movies from the Marvel. Sorry, I'm going off topic, but Doctor Strange is not among them. Like, I'd say for me, Thor Ragnarok is among the most replayable. I fucking love it.
I don't agree. I saw Thor Ragnarok once, and I'm okay with that. Doctor Strange, I've watched several times since I saw it first time.
Maybe you didn't understand it.
Yeah, I've watched it a few times because I like the visuals on Doctor Strange. Like, it's like visually like really pretty film and that, but it was a good cookie cutter kind of premise and that. Yeah.
Okay, we ready to wrap up?
We are done, I believe.
think so.
Yeah.
I would say that, yeah, I guess.
Good, because I need to go.
Yes, yeah. Roll the outro. Say something.
Bye, motherfuckers.
Like and subscribe on the thing.
Yeah, hit the like button or dislike button. Either way, engagement is good. And yeah, please subscribe. Tell your friends about us.
Family.
We'll hear a bunch of old farts ranting
about stupid crap.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, see y'all next Saturday.
Bye.
Bye.